Well, hello everyone. We are going to be looking at some ArcLith questions. Essentially, we're going to look at ones where algebraically we can't get the answer, and in which case we use a calculator to estimate it. So the one I'm going to do to represent that kind of question is a version of question 6. So we have t cubed, t to the 4, and t is going to be between 0 and 4. Well, we know how to get the arc length. It's basically the integral from 0 to 4. The derivative of that guy squared, the derivative of this guy squared, and the derivative of this guy squared, dt. So we're going to get the integral from 0 to 4 of the square root of 1 plus 9t to the 4 plus 16t to 6. And you might think it's a perfect square, but actually it isn't. So that's why we can't do any more. So what I'm going to do now is going to get the answer by using the calculator. So we'll do y equals, and we'll put in the function. Instead of t's will be x's, but that's the only real difference. So it's 1 plus 9 x to the power of 4 plus 16 x to the power of 6. It looks good. Do a window from 0 to 4. I like to see the thing, so zoom 0 allows me to sketch what that function looks like. It's a pretty boring curve, as most of them are. Second, calc, choose option 7. Tell it you want a lower limit of 0 and an upper limit of 4. Does a little animation and it gives you the answer. Let's say we want the answer to 1 decimal place. It's 265.2. And we're finished. So essentially, if the integral that you get inside the square root is just not going to work by the usual techniques of perfect square or some trig identity, whatever it might be, then your next method of solution is just to numerically estimate it. And that's pretty much all you need to do with that one. So let's see if there's another one we can do. Let's try version of question 7 then. Space curve is cosine of pi t, 2t, and the sine 2 pi t. And it's going to be from the point 1, 0, 0 to the point 1, 16, 0. They've already added an extra little complication. They haven't told us where to start and finish the t, but we can figure that out. I would use this middle term. Because it's 0, isn't that telling me t equals 0? Because this is 16, isn't that telling me t equals 8? So we really do know the start and finish now. We are going to be looking at the arc length of the space curve, the cosine of pi t, 2t, and the sine 2 pi t. And going from t equals 0 to t equals 8. So the arc length will be the integral from 0 to 8, the square root of. If you differentiate a cosine, you get negative pi because of the pi t part, sine of pi t, and then you square it. Differentiate that guy, you get 2, and then you square it, and differentiate that guy, and you get 2 cosine pi t, and you square it. So what we have now is pi squared sine squared pi t plus 4 cos squared pi t dt. And there's a pi in here. There we go. And this guy can't really do anything with it. So going to go into y equals again. Going to type in the function. It's the square root of pi squared sine squared. We've got a little bracket. Call it sine x and then square it. So that's how you get sine squared. Oh, and I forgot it should be pi x, not just x. So I'll insert pi. Okay, so there we go. The first one. Plus 4 pi squared cosine of pi t. So it's cosine the x pi x instead. Close brackets on that. Square it. And finish the square root. Let's check if I did that right. It's going to go from 0 to 8. Do a zoom 0. Try that again in case I didn't hit it right. Zoom 0. Oh, it is. It's working. Looks like I broke it. No, just a well, one ugly looking function. Not a good sign. That is definitely not a good sign. So let me go back in and check y equals. Pi squared, check. Sine of pi x all squared, check. Add a 4, check. 4 pi squared, check. Cosine of pi x squared. Yeah, looks good. Okay then. Do a calc on this. And number 7. Lower limit is 0. Upper limit is 8. And go for it. No. Okay. Something wrong with that one. Don't know what I did wrong. Cosine gets me pi sine, looks good. Gets me pi square sine squared, that gives me a positive number. Why is that not okay? Okay, maybe a problem with the way the calculator interprets squares. So I'm going to actually put this version in, see if that makes it better. So I'll do a square root of this stuff. So it's a bracket, negative pi, sine pi t, right? And finish one more bracket and then square it. Plus the middle term, which is 4, and I'm not worried about that. Plus this guy, bracket, 2 pi. Oh, that's a mistake. Too late now. 2 pi t. Seems a really minor error, but evidently it caused more damage than I thought. So it's 2 pi, the cosine, 2 pi t, which becomes 2 pi x. Close the brackets. close them once more, do a square, close once more. Window is good, do a zoom on it, this time. Very interesting shape, but nonetheless, it's fine. It does stuff. So I should then be able to do number 7. Lower bound is 0, upper bound is 8. Now that previous one, if I'd made that pi t, 2 pi t, it would have saved a whole load of hassle. Evidently, I'm spending a lot of time waiting for this thing to finish. Oh dear. It's still evaluating, which is quite strange. I mean, it's not that slow a calculator. How many? Well, I guess it's a really ugly function, but that shouldn't be slowing it down that much. There we go. It was just having a hard time, I guess. And the answer is 41.3, at least 1 decimal place. And that's essentially how you would do it. I guess the moral of that story is be careful. And that's us.